Good afternoon, everyone. How are you doing? It's Amanda. It's the 16th of October 2019. Had to think about that for a moment. I was drawn to July for some reason. I was back in July. I was back in the summer. But no, we're in October, and I am reading for the Canadian election, which is happening next week, I believe on the 21st of October. Coming to this quite late in the day. I am assuming the campaign has been going on for a while. I know that a lot of people have already cast their vote in advance, but the country goes to the polls on the 21st of October, and I thought I'd have a look at it. So the only thing I have done linked into Canadian politics was maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I did have a look at Justin Trudeau. I have no recollection of what came through in that session. Other than that, I think I quite liked his energy, and that literally is the extent of what I can remember. It's still online if you want to take a look, but as I say, it's a good 2-3 years old. It might not be at all relevant anymore. Let's look at what's happening now, because people's energy can change anyway, from month to month, let alone year to year. So I'm going to have a look at not just Justin's energy, but all of the leading contenders that either may take power or, what looks more likely, may go into some form of coalition with him if he wins a majority but needs the support of other parties. So I've literally done a quick 10-15 minute look online from a number of different news sources. And I'm just going to read out for people that are not in Canada what I think the gist of it all is, because I know people watch these videos because a lot of the insights that come through are very relevant for other countries. Because to be honest, it's like sitting here now, I've got 7 people's faces looking up at me. I've printed off all of the photographs, and they're all quite big photographs. So here we've got Justin, for example. Here we've got Elisabeth May, who's the Green candidate. So they're all sitting here. But in a way, I'm just looking at these faces and it's sort of like, okay, yeah, well, you would be so-and-so if you were in USA, or you would be so-and-so if you were in UK, or yeah, there's probably an Indian equivalent of you in India. You know, it's that type of thing, because it's as though there is so much commonality at the moment with politics, and a sense of real deja vu. I have to say, sitting down to even do this, it's just it's going to be interesting. So we'll just give it a go. But anyway, just a quick 2-minute review of, I think, what's going on out there for people that don't know, which would have included me 10 minutes ago. So Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is on the ropes, it says here, as Canadians head to the polls on October the 21st. Opinion surveys show his approval rating at near record lows, and his Liberals locked in a tight race with the opposition Conservatives. With neither party polling high enough, both are just above 30%, to win a majority of seats. Odds are high that if Justin does manage to hold on to power, he'll be in a weakened position, working with a fragmented parliament and relying on 2 smaller parties to survive. They then cite the other parties. So we've mentioned Liberal, we've mentioned Conservative. Andrew Scheer is the leader of the Conservative Party. We'll look at him as well. We've then got the New Democratic Party. We've got the Green Party. We've got Bloc, Quebecois. I'm sure I've pronounced that wrong. Apologies, guys. And we've got the People's Party. And then it says here, this election was supposed to be a cinch for Trudeau, the charismatic heartthrob leader. He is a bit of a heartthrob. I have to say, I think he's a bit of a heartthrob. Some people will be throwing rotten tomatoes at me now, but you know, let's keep it light, guys. So yeah, he is charismatic, to be fair, and he is quite good looking. And he says here he's got a penchant for selfies and quirky socks. Ooh, socks came up when I was doing the JFK channeling recently. That's interesting. And he champions free trade and welcomes refugees. Then it's talking about the positive things here. So it's saying he's overseeing a strong jobs market with the unemployment rate hovering at the lowest in decades. but there have been a string of scandals and blunders over the last 2 years, which are making Canadians doubt him. And then it goes on to talk about some of his blunders. The shine on the Trudeau brand has faded. While he did have a prolonged honeymoon with Canadians, his approval ratings have tanked amid a series of scandals. It's a long list. He's been reprimanded twice by the country's ethic watchdog, once for accepting a free vacation from a billionaire and another time for intervening in a judicial matter. There was an embarrassing state visit to India, where he was criticised for over-the-top attire and rubbing elbows with Sikh separatists. Accusations also surfaced that he groped a reporter before entering politics. There was also the thing that I saw in the news recently where, you know, he's blacked up his face in the 80s going off to some party or something. And then it looks like the environment also is a huge issue, with people divided on whether he has been a force for good or not there. So, as I say, that's just skimming the surface. There's a huge amount to say. I think we'll just go into it, and we're just going to see what comes up for each of them, okay? And then by the end of that, we might have a picture in terms of what might be going to happen. Let's start with Justin Trudeau himself, okay? So let's put his photograph up. Okay, there he is. (47). 21st of October 2019, I think comes to 16, if I'm correct in that. I just did it on a quick piece of paper. I better just check, otherwise if I get it wrong, people will be calling me out straight away. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, yeah, 16. 16's linked to the Tower in the tarot. So it does feel to me as though whoever wins, or it's quite a defining moment in Canadian politics. And it does feel as though it's the fall of what has been before. There will definitely be change that comes in. It won't just be carrying on the status quo. Let's have a look at Justin Trudeau himself. Okay, I'm going to pull some cards here. And I'm pulling them from the, what deck am I using? I'm using the Japanese Tarot. I've got about 4 or 5 decks here, but I feel like I'm going to use this for Justin anyway. So let's have a look at how he's looking. Let's call in Spirit and let's ask for the higher perspective here, please. Excuse the sounds from outside. Kids are going to be coming back from school. Right, it's one fallen out of the deck. The Two of Tides. And that fell out, well, I'm not sure. I think it fell out upside down. It just sort of flew out of the pack. I'm feeling this is the card of love, the Two of Tides. It's like the Two of Cups. And I'm feeling as though this to me is saying that people have fallen out of love with him. And on the bottom of the deck, we've got the Moon. So that would sort of tie in. I'm going to take those 2 cards. The Moon is linked into confusion. It's linked into not really being able to work him out. That's the energy that I'm getting. Even though he's been in power for a few years now, it's as though there is a big proportion of Canadians who were a little starstruck at his charisma, wanted to believe in, I wanted to say the love affair, you know, and have become either disillusioned or just to the point where I don't know you. It's like I feel like I don't know you. So that's the first thing that I want to say about that. I'm also being drawn, it's a rather horrible card this, but you'll see that the card for the Moon here has got an eyeball, and it's like the eyeball is out on stalks. So I'm feeling as though there's a message there in terms of, for a lot of people, it's like, I can't believe he's done that. That's the sort of energy that I'm getting. It's like, I can't believe he's done that. And that may well be just the recent stuff that's been in the paper. I have to say, I'm quite proud that in the UK we do get a good mixture of news from all around the world. If you read any of the broadsheets, you'll get a pretty good idea of what's happening in the world. In terms of Canadian news, I must admit I'm not always up on it. Like, you can't be up on every part of the world, But certainly the blacked up face, Trudeau's blacked up face going to the party, I think it happened a couple of times, even though it was historical, it made news. When I say made news, it was certainly towards the first couple of pages of the newspapers. So it was sort of like, oh, but I also feel, to be fair to the guy, people that watch this are going to be of many different ages. I'm in my 50s. I grew up with something called the Black and White Minstrel Show in the UK. And in the it would have probably been the 1970s, it was on Saturday night TV, and it was basically people who were blacked up coming on to do song and dance. Today, that wouldn't get commissioned. Nobody would watch it. Nobody would admit to watching it. Yeah, nobody would admit to watching it, but it was of its time. And sometimes we can't judge an action based on the consciousness of another decade or another era. And so I do want to say that, not condoning it. And I think he's probably more embarrassed than anybody else that he did it. In case you're noticing a difference in light, I've come back and I'm recording the next 5 minutes because I managed to erase it, and I didn't want to not put up this video because I think it's quite good. So I believe that I've talked about these 2 cards, and you're just going to have to trust me that I had also pulled these 4 cards for Justin Trudeau that I'm now going to talk to you about. I feel as though it got erased. I mean, I erased it, but there's always a meaning in spirit when these things happen. Because I mentioned something that, I don't know, maybe spirit didn't want me to mention. And I will just say this, that I asked to send some protection around Justin Trudeau. And I went on a little bit of not a rant, but I got a little bit animated about how appalling it is that in 2019 he's had to go out in a bulletproof vest. Okay, that is just such a sad indictment of society. So let's surround him in a ring of protection. Okay, that's all I'm going to say on that. Not that I'm predicting anything there. I just would like us to send some protection to him. Sorry, it's late in the day, it's 6:30, and I wasn't thinking I was going to have to come back and do this again. Anyway, sorry, you know me, my videos hopefully are of good quality, but sometimes I'm not a professional in terms of video editing. It's not where I'm at. I'm hopefully about quality in terms of what comes out of my mouth. Right, next 2 cards that came out for him were these: the Fool and the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man this is called Drowned. Okay, it's called the Drowned, but it is the card which is the Hanged Man. Okay, in this deck, it's the depiction of the Hanged Man, which is always linked into the need to try and see things from a different viewpoint, find a different perspective, literally like your world's been turned upside down and you're having to look at it from a completely different view. Because it's next to the card which is the Fool, what I was basically saying is that I feel as though any win that Justin gains, and I say later on in this video, it becomes clear that it feels like it probably will be a coalition, but he's still in the frame. He still will be around, I feel. But he's going to be a very changed man. I feel as though there's going to be a bit of a humbling for him. A word that came to me before I even started making this video today was immaturity. And I feel as though there's a bit of growing up to do with him. And I think it comes in via this election. I think he knows very well that for him, it is obviously about Canada. It's about what Canada wants for its future. But it feels as though it's almost like, I wanted to say almost like a referendum on him personally. It feels very personal. And that's why we've got the Judgment card here. It feels like it's a judgment on him, his policies, which I know is always the case in elections, but it feels even more so. And it feels as though he's humbled to a degree. So I guess he loses his majority it feels as though what's coming through here. And what he has to do is he has to start to walk a bit of a tightrope. Can you see there? He's on the high wire, and that's where it feels like he's being positioned on the high wire, sort of trapeze, trying to keep his balance. And that is a very precarious place to be, okay? And it's not a particularly comfortable place for him to be, or for the country to be either. And it's definitely going to force him to think differently, make some strategic links with new people, and all of that. We've also got the Two of Gardens that came up, which is the Two of Earth, and that came with the card of Judgment. And again, can you see we've got somebody here who's like balancing on a wire. They're balancing on a wire. Both energies to me in those cards feel precarious. Some sort of, they don't feel stable, basically. With this one as well, it's also juggling. And has he actually dropped one of the balls, basically? And it looks like he might have done, or has the propensity to. So it's not going to be easy. If he wins, it doesn't feel like it's going to be easy. And it definitely feels like it's a judgment call on him as well. I think as I'm redoing this bit of the video now, it's always hard to re-say what you've already said once, because I sort of channel it through. So I'm just going to pull another card for Justin Trudeau, okay? And let's take it from the same deck. So I'm using the Japanese Tarot deck. Let's just see. As Metatron's getting me to redo this bit, let's have a look. So, the Hanged Man. The Fool is the new beginning, which is what makes me think he has to probably win to a degree, even if it's in coalition with somebody else. I still think he's around, but he's starting it anew. It's a whole new beginning for him, a whole new chapter, a whole new way of doing politics. He's going to have to radically transform himself and I'm wanting to say his policies as well. Okay, so let's just see. Let's have another 2 cards Metatron from this deck then, please, as we're redoing this. Sorry if I just shook the camera. Justin Trudeau. The general election, 21st of October. Justin Trudeau. Any other message, Metatron? Justin Trudeau. The 5 of Fire. A lot of fighting. I'm wanting to say a lot of infighting within his own party as well. I don't feel as though that's just external parties. It feels as though, I don't know how secure his actual position is in terms of head of the Liberal Party. And that might be as a result of what happens next week. I'm not sure. Let's see what we get with that. But I also feel as though he'll fight to the death his position within the party. Let's see what else we get with that. What comes with the 5 of Fire? That would be the 5 of Wands. That almost feels as though fighting for the ideals, okay? It's like what he believes to be true, what he feels Canada represents, what he believes Canada can be. He will fight to the death that. There's a bit of conviction coming through here, which is nice because I wasn't feeling that the first time I read, I have to say, early this afternoon. Let's see what else we get. Okay, the Ace of Swords. And I have to say that card's also on the bottom, which is the card of War. Now, even though that card of War looks quite like, it's actually the card, interestingly, within this deck that relates to the Emperor in the tarot. So it's just they've chosen a rather unusual depiction of it. But it does feel as though he's at war with something or somebody. But he also has the Ace of Wands, which is the Ace of Swords. So it's all about, for him, fighting for what he believes in, what he believes the truth to be. Fighting for truth, I want to say. So I feel as though I want to say he's learning or learnt from the mistakes that he's made in the past, particularly with regard to errors of his own judgment. That doesn't mean that he won't make mistakes again. It just means that within himself, there is this reckoning that I messed up there. I did that wrong. I shouldn't have accepted that, done that, whatever. But I also feel he's almost like at war with two parts of his own being as well, which we all are, let's be honest. We all have both light and shadow within us. That card of war, let me just read out what it says about that one, because as I say, it's a very unusual one to have in the major arcana. And it is, let me just read what it says. It says, here is the first and only significant departure of the Japanese tarot from the traditional naming of the major arcana. So customarily, this is called the Emperor. And this card embodies the archetypal father possessing a worldly masculine energy of a less creative but more disciplined nature than that of the magician. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, I'm leaping ahead because straight away I'm wanting to not read what it says there. Not because there's anything wrong with it, just because Metatron's saying something else to me. He's saying that this, I don't know Justin Trudeau's background. There seems to be something about his father. I believe Justin Trudeau's father was a politician. Is that right? I think so. He's at war with... There's something going on with his relationship with his father. Within his psyche. I don't know whether his father's still alive or not, but it's as though he's troubled by something. Whether it's fulfilling his father's legacy, whether it's doing better than his father, whether it's there's something, he's not at peace with something linked into his father, okay? What that's got to do with the election next week, I'm not entirely sure, but it's showing here in his energy, so I'm bringing it through, okay? We've pulled 3 cards. I'm going to pull another 3 cards because that feels just like deeply personal stuff linked into him as well. He's at war with his father for some reason. Part of his consciousness is at war. Something's unhealed. Something wasn't said. Something wasn't put right. There's some karma there, I feel, that's been left over. It could just be that he's wanting to further his father's work or feels like he's let his father down. I don't know, something along those lines. Let's move on from that to another message now. Justin Trudeau. The 6 of Wands, which is the 6 of Swords. Yeah, and moving away from something. It's like he's wanted to move on from his troubles, move on from his mistakes, move on from the election, I want to say, move on from the campaigning, get on with the job. What else? General election, Justin Trudeau. General election, Justin Trudeau next week. The devil, he's bound to something. Doesn't mean he is the devil. I don't believe he is the devil. It means that he's bound to something. I think this is linked into maybe deals. I'm hearing oil. It doesn't mean he's corrupt, guys. That's not what I'm saying. But, you know, let's face it, most politicians... I hate to say this because it sounds cynical, but it's the truth. So many politicians, including ones we have looked up to, are beholden to some of the big industries of our day, be that oil, be that arms. And that's what's showing here in terms of the devil's energy. And on the bottom of the deck, we've got the 7 of Wands, which is the 7 of Swords, which is like he's trying to get away with something. But then we have the Justice card, so you can't ever get away with it. Trying to look at this from a higher perspective, I think this card here, the Drowned, is saying to me, I think he knows that he's made mistakes and that he's, I was going to say something rude there, he's messed up, is a nice way of saying it. I think he knows that, and I think he wants to... What does he want? I was about to say he wants to be a better man. Let's just see, what does he want? Justin Trudeau, what does he truly want? If he gets another term, what does he truly want? Jester of Winds. That was the Five of Gardens, in case anybody's wanting. Yeah, I'm going to take that. Oh, okay, I know what it is. Goes back to this first card. I think he's somebody that we all want to be loved, let's be honest. Nobody likes to be disliked. Even politicians are human beings, okay? He feels left out in the cold and unloved. Jester of Winds would be the Knight of Swords. I feel he wants to try again. I really do. Give me one more card that goes with that Jester of Winds. I still feel like he feels like he's a bit of a knight though, rather than a king. Maybe this is the thing. His father feels like the king still. He's the knight. He needs to get past this. One more card, Justin Trudeau, Metatron. Okay, well that's that one. That's fallen out. What is it? The Queen of Fire. He needs to find his passion again. He needs to find... There's a lot of dissatisfaction, I think, within him. And maybe that's being reflected by... I don't know how he's been campaigning. I mean, he's a showman, so I'm sure he's put on a good show. But underneath it all, there's something here that's quite troubled within his psyche. Queen of Fire. I don't know who his wife is. Feels like he's got a powerful woman around him. Anyway, that's her. Show me his energy. One card, Metatron. Show me his energy. Show me his energy. The Sun. Yeah, he wants to be loved. He wants to be liked. He wants to be that bright light. Something's just not adding up though with it. Can't quite put my finger on what it is. And it's really interesting. I now realise why that other 5 minutes have been erased, because I didn't get this last time. There's something beneath the surface with this guy that you can't see. He's troubled about something. He's putting on the brave sunny face. That's what he wants you to, that's what he wants you to see. But underneath it all, it's a bit confusing and conflicted. As a leader, how will he be in his second term, assuming he gets in? As a leader, what would he be like in a second term? The Hermit, oh my God. Well, I'm saying that because, remember, I'm filming this after all the rest of the video. The Hermit card came up about 3 or 4 times for other people. It's come up for him as well. It all makes sense, guys. You've got to watch the whole video. The Hermit, I'm going to call this, I think I'll call this whole video something along the lines of Canada's soul searching, diving deep, something like that, because Trudeau's got it now as well. They all keep getting the Hermit card. And it's to do with Canada's got to do some very deep soul searching and reflection. It doesn't know where it's going or what it is or what it stands for anymore. And it's reflected in the candidates that you've got. They're also reflecting that. And there's a sense where they're not quite sure about themselves either. The Hermit, the Hermit, the Hermit. There is also this feeling with him where he just wants to be a bit hermit-like. But he can't. He's supposed to be the one who's out there shining, doing it. I think he needs to heal whatever has gone on with his father. You know, and that's private and personal, but there's something there. And if he can do that, then there's more, I'm feeling like I can breathe again. Whoa, okay, right. I'm now going to press pause on this, and then it will go into me talking, I think, about Andrew and the Conservative candidate. That's the next part of this video. And then I talk about Justin a little bit more later on in the video as well. But I just needed to do that little segment so it all sort of flows. Okay. No, let's use this same deck. I'm not going to be able to use the deck for everybody because some of the cards have gone, but anyway. Andrew Scheer. What do I feel about him? Other than trying to get past the fact that he looks completely like my brother, I'm just trying to put that to one side. My brother is the most wonderful, truly lovely man, so he doesn't want to get involved in this. Right, he's not my brother. He's not my brother, he ain't heavy, he's my brother. Why is that song coming to mind? Three cards for Andrew Scheer. Patience. Temperance. Note how with Justin we had him up there on the high wire all on his own. On a unicycle. Andrew's energy, we've got two people. Two people, two parties. Balancing. It is two parties. There's two empty seats there. Two swings that are empty. And two swings that are occupied. Is there such a thing as swing states in Canada? I guess there is. Maybe there are going to be certain swing states that go blue. If blue is the Conservative colour. Assuming it is here. It might not be in Canada. I know it's the other way around in USA, which is very confusing. Democrats are blue. Which would be red in our country. Anyway, never mind. Temperance. Andrew's got temperance. What else has he got? He's playing the long game, I'm hearing. Eight of Wands. He doesn't look that happy with the result. Or certainly dissatisfied. The Eight of Wands is the Eight of Swords, which in the traditional tarot shows somebody who's quite trapped, but isn't as trapped as they think they are. It's the one which has somebody and they've got loads of swords all around them. They look bound as though they can't escape, but they can. There's actually an entrance in front of them. So he's feeling a bit trapped there. But he's being told to be patient, play the long game. Let's have another two cards for Andrew. Andrew Scheer. Oops, sorry, the Chariot. And the Hermit. Well, that's contradictory to start off with. Stop, start, push, pull energy. That's probably why he's got the Temperance card. Contradictory energies here. It could even be thinks he wants it, but does he really want it? It could be he's one of these people that maybe starts policies, but then doesn't finish them off, doesn't see things through. Starts something but doesn't finish it. Or starts something but is then blocked. Okay? Starts something but has to be patient. Let's have another two cards for Andrew. Can I just see his energy? Because that more feels like a outlook for what's going to happen to his party. But I just want to see his energy. Show me Andrew Scheer's energy. Can I see Andrew Scheer's energy? The Teacher, the Hierophant. So he's there to teach Canada something. Whether Canada likes it or not, he's there. He's there for a reason. It doesn't mean you necessarily like the lesson or you like what's being taught, but he's holding up a mirror of some description and you're being asked to learn something. What goes with it? What else goes with Andrew's energy? The Teacher and the Seven of Tides. I don't like that card. That's the Seven of Cups in the... Seven of Cups is what is very much linked into what is real and grounded and tangible and achievable, and what is a false dream, false hope, lie even, you know, what is truth and what isn't. So I do wonder, because it came up with the card of the teacher, he may well be performing a role here in terms of teaching us about, can people actually deliver what they are telling us that they can do? Or are they almost sort of like dangling the jewels, you know, dangling the treasures, but ultimately, are they able to actually come up with the goods? So that's a bit of it's a funny card, that, really, because it's sort of implying that, is what you see real? Is it the truth? Maybe it is, but there's always a question mark with that particular energy. Let's look at how he does with regard to the election next week. So we've already got him sort of here looking a bit despondent and outcast, but that doesn't mean he's not in the running, because we've also got the card of the Chariot. Maybe I need a clarification card on why we've got the Chariot. I think I do. Let's have a look. Can you hear that aeroplane? Why have we got the Chariot? Justice. We've got the card of Justice. I feel as though I'm wanting to say, and I know nothing about this guy at all, but the message I'm getting is that justice may be catching up with him. That doesn't mean that he has to have done anything terrible. It could be something personal. But having said that, I am sort of reading on the election. So it feels as that I've got the Chariot energy is fast moving. Something is coming forward, and it links into justice. No, he's not the, one of them's a lawyer. No, I don't think that's him. I think that's Maxime Bernie or whatever he's called. Sorry to be disrespectful. I just don't know these people. Or maybe it's to do with this guy, who I think is called, let me put my computer back on. I think he's called Maxime Bernie, who is the People's Party. Maybe I'm picking up that he is close on his tail. I'm picking that up. I hope that makes sense to people in Canada. Maybe he's taking some of his vote. Is that possible? That this guy's taking some of this guy's vote? Because I'm actually feeling that Justice card is a person. And I think that person is this chap. Let me just check. I think I'm right. That one of them's a lawyer or got something to do with law. What's interesting is that when you actually look up Canadian politics and who the main contenders are, sometimes Maxime Bernie isn't actually being included in the articles that I'm seeing anyway. So he is, yeah, he's a lawyer. He's a lawyer. It's him. He is hot on the tails of this guy. That's what I'm feeling. So whether he takes votes from him, or he's going to challenge him on certain issues, that's what I'm getting there. Okay, right, let's move on. Should we do Maxime Bernie next then, as he sort of charged in energetically to this reading? Here he is. Tells me he's 56. And he's the founder and current leader of the People's Party of Canada. And before entering politics, he held positions in law, finance and banking. And I'm just looking at Google here. It's just the latest news linked into Maxime Bernie. There seems to be a lot of talk about, well, here we go. There's a paper here called The Conservation Maxime Bernier either doesn't know or doesn't care that immigrants have a positive impact on the country. The New York Times 20 hours ago says a Mad Max candidate offers a far-right jolt to the Canadian election, linked to him. And then it says Maxime Bernier fights for political survival in a home region of in Quebec. Okay, right, let's have a look at him. Well, let's see what's going on with him. I'm going to get a new deck of cards because I've already got quite a few from that one. Oh yes, I wanted to do a Moonology card for each of them. Thought that would be interesting as well. Let's do that to start with. Let's have a card from the Moonology deck for Maxime. And then I'll do it at the end for Justin and Andrew. Okay, so Maxime Bernier. Let's just feel into him. He looks like he's a big guy. Look at those big shoulders. Is he tall? He must be tall. He looks like a big man to me. Okay, let's see. Aries. A fiery climax approaches. So he's fiery. That's what I can make out from that. Passionate, means business, determined. Let's have a look at him. Which deck should we use, Metatron? Let's just use the After Tarot deck. Okay, so Maxime Bernier. He's not like a Farage figure, is he? I don't know. He's not like your equivalent of Nigel Farage. Hopefully not. Whoops, shouldn't say that. Maxime Bernier. Show me the energy. Maxime Bernier. So there's one just flown out of the... Two have just landed on the floor. Hold on. Oh. The Hermit and the Ace of Pentacles. Right. Let's pull 6. So Ace of Pentacles, money. Offer of money. He's a money man. The Hermit. Again, who had the Hermit earlier? Somebody else had the Hermit. Andrew had the Hermit. Okay, Metatron's saying it's linked into, it's less about the actual people. It's linked into the fact they're representing that people are having to do some soul searching in this election, okay? The Hermit is linked into soul searching, reflection, going within. So these candidates are helping people to do that. What conclusion you come to is up to you. You know, it's going to be different for different people. But there's a lot of soul searching that's being done with regard to these men, particularly Andrew and Maxime. Let's have another card, please, for him. Maxime Bernier. The Page of Swords. He tells it like it is. He delivers the truth quite bluntly. I've never heard him speak, so that's what I'm hearing. He tells the truth quite bluntly. Not many pleasantries. Doesn't mean he can't be a charmer if he wants to be. You know, he looks a bit like a charmer there. You know, sort of like a charmer's type energy. But I'm hearing the actual message that he's got is delivered quite bluntly. But with clarity. You know what he stands for. What else? Maxime Bernier. I'm finding him quite hard to read in terms of his individual energy. It's like he's not giving much away. Page of Wands. I feel there's something in his upbringing or childhood that has driven him on, that is part of the reason why he is the way he is. I'm not saying the way he is bad or good, no idea. But it seems to be he's very driven by something that happened when he was younger. He had to walk away from something, and it's given him a sense of determination and passion, and he believes in what he believes. Whether you like what he believes or not is a different matter, but he believes it. But it seems to have been caused by a reaction to something. What else? The Star. He gives people a vision. And for some people, that vision is very appealing. It's a dream. It's an appealing dream. It's giving them some hope where they feel they haven't got any. I'm feeling the stars are quite aligned around him, and that he's meant to make the impact he's making at the moment. He was born to not be a sort of shrinking violet. He was born to be in this position and the spotlight that he's in now, and I'm feeling he's quite enjoying that spotlight. Show me him as a person. I'm still not getting him as a person. Show me his energy as a person. Show me his energy as a person. Put the card. Show me his energy as a person. The Knight of Cups. Yeah, I feel like he comes offering. You know, this is all about I'm offering you something. Look at this. Ace of Pentacles. I'm offering you something. Knight of Cups. I'm offering you something. Page of Swords. I'm offering you something. Page of Wands. I'm offering you something. He's offering something. Whether you like what he's offering, as I say, is a different matter. But he's offering something which is appealing to some people and is giving them a sense of hope. How does he do in the election itself? I'm being told to go back to the other deck. Where's the other deck? Show me how his party does in the election. So, the People's Party of Canada. Maxime Bernie, how does he do in the election? Look at that, he's got the star again. Twice. I said the stars are aligned. What does that mean? Let's have one more card. Clarification on the double star, please, Metatron. Why have we got double star? Fortune. Wheel of Fortune. It's fated. There's a destiny around this guy. I think he's one to watch. He seems to be one to watch. There is a destiny. There is something fated. Is there a link with Trump? Does he get on with Trump? I'm sort of feeling there's an energetic link with Donald Trump. But it's like I feel flat. It's weird because we've got this double star card, which should be like, oh, but I'm not. I'm feeling flat towards it, which is weird. Maybe it falls flat. Maybe whatever he offers falls flat. Maybe the dream falls flat. I'm also feeling there's a longer term thing with him. So it's not just about what happens next week. Strange. Okay, let's move on. Jagmeet Singh, the New Democratic Party. Okay. No idea what the New Democratic Party stands for, but we're going to look at him. Jagmeet Singh. Okay. Which deck to go for, Metatron? Go to a fresh deck, you're saying. Okay. Right, we're going to use the Shadowscapes Tarot deck. I need some water. Hold on. Jagmeet Singh. Let's have a look at you. Let's have some messages for Jagmeet Singh. Apologies if I'm saying his name wrong. So actually, I need to clear the energy. There's a really weird energy, flat energy, since I've read that Maxime Bernie. I'm sorry if that offends somebody, but I just don't know what it is. I'm going to just spray some white light. Sometimes what we dream for might not be actually that great when it turns up. Okay, can we move forward now to Jagmeet Singh? Yeah. Interesting, I'm spraying the white energy, the white spray, which is a clearing energy. So whether he's bringing in some clearing energy into all of this, some clarity, it's like a breath of fresh air type energy. Okay, come on Metatron, let's have a look at this chap. Jagmeet Singh. That's a strange thing. I'm hearing, is the world ready for him? Is Canada ready for him? But it's almost like a question mark in terms of he might be ahead of his time. The Three of Pentacles. Again, on the bottom of the pack, the Hermit. You can't make this up. We've had it 3 times now. I've got 3 different decks and the Hermit card has come out 3 times. This election for Canada, there is some deep soul searching, and it is not clear cut at all what will happen, what could happen, where the country's going, and I think the country knows that, and they're really having to think about this. And all of the contenders, all of the people that are coming forward, whether it's Justin, whether it's this chap, whether it's Andrew, whether it's Maxime, they're all there. They're playing their part. They're making Canada scratch its head and think, what do we want for the country going forward? Who are we? What do we stand for? All of these people are playing the part they're meant to play, including this man, Jagmeet Singh. Okay, 3 of Pentacles. He's got the Hermit card. One more card. Strength. He's got the card of Strength. I want to look up the 3 of Pentacles in this deck and just see what it says, because it was the first card out and it feels like it must be quite important because it was the first one out. 3 of Pentacles. Let me put the card up so you can see. They work together as one, creating a human ladder and climbing upon each other's shoulders. With their combined height, they reach upwards. They yearn towards the sky. The 3 of Pentacles is the embodiment of teamwork, of functioning together as a unit. It underscores competence and achieving beyond the expected. Sometimes the support of others is required to achieve a goal. Not everything can be accomplished solo. Not everything needs to be accomplished alone. Reaching out to others is no failing, but working with others requires patience, planning and compromise to adhere to standards of cooperation. This guy's a team player, and he's got the card of strength with it. He's a team player. And I tell you what, Canada's going to need it, I feel. I think, I mean, there's just nothing clear coming out here. I think, I'm not saying anything that's not already in the papers. It's coming through that there's some sort of coalition coming up. And I feel as though this man seems to embody teamwork, cooperation, and is going to be very needed as an energy, okay? Let's see what else we get. And he's quite strong, you know, as well as being a good team player. You know, he's a force to be reckoned with. Don't underestimate him, is what I'm wanting to say. The Three of Cups. He's got 2 3s. The Three of Cups now. Three of Cups for me is always, I always think of it in terms of reunion. It's like a reunion. It's a celebration. I feel as though he helps again to bring, I think it's 3 parties. I think it's 3 parties, or three parties that seem to hold the balance of power. And I think it feels like his party's going to be one of them. He brings back union. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because I've just printed this off from an article I found online. And look what's above his photograph. I didn't write that. That's just from the article that I've got. Possible Kingmaker. Possible Kingmaker. Very interesting. What else? What else? Jagmeet Singh. What else, Metatron? These 2. The 5 of Wands and the 6 of Swords. The 5 of Wands shows there's going to be a lot of battling, a lot of arguing, a lot of fighting, but I think it's linked into this thing about teamwork. 6 of Swords, I feel as though he might have an energy where it's like in his innermost soul, sometimes you just think, oh, I could just move away from this, you know, this pettiness. I feel that he's quite evolved spiritually, and I feel as though he wants to be above this fighting, this infighting. So it feels as though he's trying to embody a new type of politics based on teamwork and cooperation. That's what I'm getting. Show me his true energy, please, Metatron. Show me his true energy, Jagmeet Singh. Show me his true energy. He feels much more approachable, much more readable, wanting to say much more likeable. He's got the 9 of Wands. And then the 9 of Pentacles is also on the bottom of the pack. 9 and 9. Yeah, he seems to represent the start of a new cycle. I feel like I can breathe again. You know, I feel there's a feeling of freedom and space around all of a sudden as I'm reading his energy. He obviously does not win outright, but he seems to be a very important part of the cog, you know, a very important cog in the machine that brings in something new and fresh. Let's pull a card, a Moonology card for him. Jagmeet Singh. You are good enough, full moon in Virgo. Yeah, I think he's got an energy of, I think he doubts himself, actually. I think that's what that is. I think he doubts himself a little bit. And maybe it's because of his ethnicity, his faith, which has excluded him or excluded people like him from positions of power within Canada before. So he's fighting for people of different ethnicities and different faiths to take their rightful place in Canadian politics, and that you are good enough. And not only are you good enough, you're needed to stop all this old squabbling Don't run away from it. Be strong and embody this very cohesive energy that you have. You are good enough. But I also feel that he champions people generally. He champions maybe the underdog, is what I'm getting. He champions people that can't speak for themselves. And it's about looking at the parts of society that other people don't necessarily wish to spend time with or adopt policies for. So he's a kingmaker in that way as well. I like his energy. I like his energy. Okay, who have we got left? 2 more. Gosh, this is a bit of a marathon, this. Okay, I need another cup of tea, but now I'll press on. I'll press on. Elizabeth May, the Green Party. Let's put her face up. Let's have a bit of cold tea. There's nothing worse than cold tea. Oh, yuck. Okay, Elizabeth May. She reminds me of somebody as well. Not sure who. She's got a familiarity to her. Okay, Elizabeth May, the Green Party. So huge environmental issues, I know, in Canada, linked into oil, linked into Indigenous people, linked into the environment. I saw the rallies that went through some of the major cities in Canada recently. Extinction Rebellion. I guess they were those sort of marches. Greta was there, I know she was. Let's have a look at Elisabeth. I need a completely new deck for Elisabeth as well. Let's just pull a moon card for her first. And I'll choose a deck. What deck am I going to use for her? Good job I've got lots of decks, guys, isn't it? Oh, I know the deck I'm going to use. I'm going to use the Enchanted Tarot. Okay, let's pull a moon card for you. Elizabeth May. Luck is on your side. She's got luck on her side. Bodes that she's going to do quite well, as are, you know, people that are champion green policies. It's like, don't get disheartened if you're, you know, if you're passionate about the environment. These protests that are going on around the world, and it is around the world, they're not going to disappear. They're not disappearing. Okay, this is part of the new movement, which is not going anywhere. So luck is on her side. Green Party, shooting an arrow into the future. New moon in Sagittarius. Okay, let's pull a few cards for Elisabeth. I'm using the Enchanted Tarot. They are impossible to shuffle, so just doing it off camera, but let's just pull back so you can see what I'm doing. Elizabeth May. Let's have a look at her then, Metatron. So in relation to the Canadian election next week, how's she looking? What's going on? What's the message? Elizabeth May. 2 cards came out at once. The Empress and the Princess of Wands. Well, she's a woman, of course, so she gets the Empress, but she seems to have got a very, sounds silly, but you know, she's a woman, but she's got a very, very female energy. She's quite sort of, well, she's the Earth Mother. That's what it is. The Empress is the Earth Mother. So she passionately believes what she believes. She's not faking it. She's not doing it for ego. She's the real deal in terms of what she believes. Again, whether you like that or not is a different matter, but she believes what she believes. She's the Empress. She's watching. Look at that. The Empress is watching over the earth. Okay, that's her role here. And she's got the Princess of Wands with her. So I feel that is also a link to the younger generation that she's able to carry with her. There's a lot of young people who are becoming activists, who are whose interest has been ignited in politics through the environment, through caring about the environment. So it feels as though, I mean, I don't know what her age is. She looks a slightly older lady. But she's also got the support of young grassroots underneath her as well. Okay, young men, young women, Princess of Wands, people that are passionate, people that have got her vision, people that will follow through in the future when she no longer can. Although she'll be around for a while yet. What else have we got? Elizabeth, sorry, what's she called? Elizabeth May. Oh, even her name, Elizabeth May. How interesting. We had Theresa May. I know she's not Theresa May and she's got nothing to do with Theresa May, but that's quite interesting that two women have got the same surname who are on the leading, you know, one of the leading political figures of our day. I know Theresa's now, well, she's still actually in the on the back benches. She hasn't retired. You still see her in the House of Commons. But I was more picking up Elisabeth May, you know, she may succeed. She may surpass expectations. She may surpass her own expectations as well, I'm feeling. Okay. The Six of Wands. Not sure what that one is about. I need to look that one up. Excuse me for one moment. Six of Wands. Why have we got the Six of Wands for her? This deck. Oh, victory. Wow. It's the card of victory. Right, well, she's got the card of victory. Victory is approaching. Have faith that you will win. The spotlight is shining upon you. Accept this time of recognition and growth as you have triumphed in a difficult situation. Things will work out favourably. Well, it's the card of victory. She's not going to win the whole election, of course, but she's going to do well. She's going to do better than I think she thinks she's going to do as well. Okay. Anything else to say on Elisabeth? I'm not going to do a big read on the whole environmental policies. That's something that can come under another video. I think we need to look at the environment generally and maybe take certain situations from different countries and look at them, okay? It's going to be too long otherwise in this video. Let's just have another couple of cards for Elisabeth linked into this election. She's got the Ten of Swords. I'll ask what that's about. Why's she got the Ten of Swords? Okay, she feels like it's do or die. She feels like it's do or die. I think she feels like it's do or die now in terms of the environment and the crisis that she feels we're in. She feels as though this is a very defining moment for Canadian politics as well. I actually feel like she's got the weight of she feels like she's got the weight of expectation on her shoulders to do well. It's almost along the lines of, if you can't do well as a Green candidate in this particular climate where you've got thousands, hundreds of thousands of people on the street, when can you? So it's like she seems to have a heavy cross to bear. But we did have the card of victory. So, you know, I think I still maintain she's going to do okay. But I think that's what the Ten of Swords is about. What else? The Ten of Wands. Yeah, you see, that's exactly what I just said. The Ten of Wands is like, I still feel as though I've got quite a long way to go. I mean, I'm virtually there. I've virtually achieved my goal. But it's like it feels like there's a bit of a burden. It feels heavy. The burden feels heavy. Look at that person. They're lifting that, whatever that's supposed to be, all on their own, and it's heavy and their back's going. Their back's breaking. She really passionately cares about it. And her lesson needs to probably be to, what's the word? What's the word? You know, delegate. That's what I'm trying to say. Delegate. She needs to delegate more. So I don't know what her team is like underneath her, but I'm feeling as though it's all on her. And there needs to be more support. And I've got the tick again. The tick's come back in my eye. She's got stress. She's very stressed. Trudeau and her, for different reasons. He's stressed because this election is a judgment call on him as a person. For her, it's like the environment has never been more topical. It's never been more front page news. If I can't achieve something great now for the Green Party, who is going to? She's stressed by it. One other message, Elisabeth May. The Four of Wands. The Four of Wands. I'll check. So she's got a bit of fire to her then. Four of Wands. Four of Wands is completion. Enjoy the satisfaction of a job well done. Your labours have not only created a strong foundation, but the hard work and the effort done to meet your obligations and produce your very best have resulted in an optimistic and thankful celebration. Well, yeah, I think she's going to do relatively well. And I think she's laid some very good groundwork for the future, not just for her party, but for I want to say environmental politics in Canada going forward. And I don't know whether she holds a position of, you know, a balance of power or not, to be honest, but it feels as though she is I'm hearing the word, she's an influencer, okay? She's going to be an influencer. She's not going anywhere. And I think she gets like a groundswell of support behind her. Okay. I pulled a card for her. Luck is on your side. Yes, so she's got luck is on your side. She's got the completion of a successful project. She had victory, but she's also got this energy of sort of like very heavy expectation upon her. It's more, what I'm hearing is it's more her own personal expectation for herself. It's coming less from other people. It's her own stuff. It's her own stuff, because she's like Mother Earth. She cares so deeply. It's like I almost want to give her a bit of a hug and say, come on, it's going to be okay. Have a cup of tea. Right. I'm going to pause my camera because my battery's about to go, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to do the last person, who I believe is Yves-Francois Blanchet. Okay? Back in a minute. Bye. Okay, I'm back. Let's have a look now at Yves-Francois Blanchet and his party, who I don't understand a great deal about, to be perfectly honest, but it looks like it's seeking independence for Quebec. Is that right? Anyway, let's just pull some cards on his energy and how he stands with regard to this upcoming election next week. This is what he looks like. Sorry, Yves. There we go. Let's have 6 cards for him. Yves. Ooh, okay. What's that? Oh, he's got the 8 of Swords as well. Somebody else had that. Who had the 8 of Swords? That was Andrew. Andrew Scheer had that card as well. So I think this is less his energy. I think this is more Quebec's energy of feeling trapped and unable to free itself, is how I interpret that. Let's see what else we get. I guess that's what he's all about. Freeing independence. I'm struggling with this part of the session. I'll just say it now, because it's a bit like if you're an American or a Canadian or wherever else you are around the world, and you might be able to have a stab at, for example, British politics, surface politics, but then try and read on what's happening in Wales, okay, or what's happening in Scotland or Northern Ireland. And it's like we're into a whole other level here with Yves. So I'll do my best. I'm just going to say what I get, but I'm going to find this maybe a little bit more difficult because I don't understand his party or him necessarily. Let's put those. Come on, 3 more cards, please. Metatron, Yves. What messages are there linked into Yves? The Knight of Cups. Feel as though he feels quite emotional at this time, quite jubilant, quite happy actually. So it's almost like the opposite energy of this. But I do think this is the situation around Quebec. So he's feeling on and up is what I'm wanting to say. What goes with that? Yves-Francois. The 10 of Cups. He's all about the family. Is he very much about family values, maybe? I'm picking up the family around him. Maybe he's got a strong family himself. He seems to represent family values, home. think that might be him and his wife. I can't imagine he's got a young baby, but, you know, I guess maybe he's got a child. But family values. And for him, it's sort of, I'm hearing the word home. What is home? So if he's wanting to bring back independence to Quebec, it's like, this is our home. This is our sovereign land. This is who we are as a people. This is our family. We are a family. The Two of Pentacles. Options, choices. I'm feeling for him that's almost linked into which of the other political parties can he trust? Who, you know, that phrase, who you get into bed with, you know? And then it's like, once you've got into bed with them, you've got to sometimes, you know, you've made your bed, so you've got to lie in it type energy. So it's as though he's got options in terms of which political party he gets into bed with. But yet the boats are out at sea. So it actually could be, what I've just said, but it also could be who he links with, who he trades with, who he negotiates with. I'm talking other countries. Outside external influences. Who are the external outside influences around him and his party, I'm wanting to say. It's as though in his mind, Quebec is already a separate state. And so who, again, this thing about homeland, who would the homeland want to trade with? Who would be its partners overseas? And feeling quite jubilant as though there are many opportunities for such trade and closer ties. The Ten of Pentacles, yeah, money. As though there is, I don't know what reserves there are in Quebec. Feels as though there's plenty of natural reserves, money. Is it oil? I don't know. I also feel as though he's well funded. His party's well funded. Has a lot of support and foundation. What else? How's he going to do in this election? How's his party going to do in this election? The Seven of Wands. That's a position of defence. Defending his cause. Defending what he believes in. Defending Quebec. What goes with that? Quite, it's not defensionalist, isn't even a word. Quite, so I'm just seeing like this, it's separation, isn't it? Separating off, defending space, land, ideology, language. What came out with that? The Knight of Swords. Delivering some truths. How does he do in the election? So no, it's not showing me. How does he do in the election? Six of Cups, and he's got the Star as well. Probably better than he thinks he's going to, or better than he has done in the past. It's like he has a vision of it's not about going back in time, but the Six of Cups is linked into the past. It's like a vision of Quebec, taking it back to a former state of being. I don't know who owned what and, you know, what timelines we're talking here, but it's like a return to the past. That's the vision, that's the dream. A return to the past in some way. Either in ownership of the land. It's like I'm wanting to sort of keep myself closed in. It's a strange mix because he does seem to have some external influences around him. So in one sense, he is looking out to the wider world, but it's like he's more looking out to the wider world than he is to the rest of Canada, is what I'm feeling here. That's what I'm picking up, okay? Let's pull a moon card for him. Never had so many cards out on my table. So a moon card for Eve and this general election of next week, 21st of October. Show me the energy around him and his party. Don't let I've got a few there. I've got pride. Don't let pride get in your way. And I've also got it's time to take action. I'm not feeling either of them. I'm just going to tell you what they were. But I'm going to put them back in. I'm going to reshuffle. So I only really want one card. If they're the right energy, it's going to come back out again. He's got national pride. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with having national pride in who you are and where you come from. But I'm also hearing pride comes before a fall sometimes. Okay, one card from this deck, please, for Eve. Okay. Expect powerful change. Yeah, I felt there was a different message there. New moon eclipse. I feel as though he's going to eclipse previous prosperity lies ahead. 10 of Cups. Sorry, not 10 of Cups, 10 of Pentacles. Prosperity lies ahead. Expect powerful change. He's going to eclipse what they have been able to achieve before in other elections, is what I feel. And he's going to eclipse what he thinks is possible. And I do think he's a change bringer. So it feels very similar to what's going on in the UK with the move towards separation, which may very well happen at some point in the future with England, Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland. Certainly Scotland, the move towards independence in Scotland. At some point probably it will happen, and it feels as though Quebec, it's like there's a similar energy here. So it is what it is. I want to just go back now and say something that I didn't say at the start about Justin Trudeau, which was, do you remember the first two cards we had for Justin were the Two of Cups and the Moon? And I talked about the fact that people might have fallen out of love with him, you know, and he was unclear about who he is. I'm also getting a secondary message linked into Justin, which is that he, at some level, I feel has fallen out of love with politics and is questioning what he actually wants to do with his life. That doesn't mean that he won't, if he gets back in, fulfill what he's meant to do and see it through. And if you're allowed to go for a third term in Canadian politics, even do that. But it's like there's this feeling coming up here that I'm linking into with him, which is that it's not really giving him the satisfaction that he used to think it did or he wanted. So he's feeling as though he's fallen out of love with it a bit, you know, and he's now unclear in terms of where he really wants to be going. It might also be that he's some of the ideology that he had, some of the beliefs that he had, it's like he's realising that they're not going to work or they can't work. There's that thing about growing up again, you know, going from more of an immature energy to a much an older, wiser person, but equally there's a bit of cynicism that's coming as well. That's one message I'm getting for him. Okay, I didn't pull a moon card for Justin, so I'm going to do that. One thing I will say, having read all of them now, none of them are coming across particularly as like, wow, that's the out and out winner. So we'll put it this way, that no one is coming across as any stronger than Justin. So I can't believe that he's not going to be in the mix come October the 22nd. But it probably is that he's joined by some other kingmakers, as it were, okay? But who's fighting for second and third place? Gee, very, very close. Anyway, let's just ask about Justin. One card for Justin. One card for Justin Trudeau, linked into next week, Metatron, October the 21st. Where are we at, Justin? No, he's saying keep shuffling. Okay, one card. Is that one card? No. One card. The answers you need are coming. Full moon in Gemini. That's a strange card to get for him. It's almost as though he's going into this election not quite knowing how he's going to... No, let me take a step back from what I was about to say. It's not that he doesn't know how to deliver it. It's just that the playing field is so uneven and he doesn't know who he's going to be playing with. How can you make concrete policies because you don't actually know who's going to be beside you, helping to create some form of stable government? If it was just his Liberal Party, he'd be clear about this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to do it, but he doesn't have that luxury, I'm hearing. So the answers for him will come when he actually knows who he's sitting down with, whether that's Andrew, whether it's Maxime, whether it's Elisabeth, who's the other one? Whether it's Jagmeet, whether it is Eve. There's too much that's unknowable at this time. And it links into the fact that we've had the Hermit repeatedly through this. And Canada is just doing this deep, deep soul searching. And what it reveals next week is going to be very interesting. Now, I also didn't pull a moon card for Andrew, Conservative Party, Andrew Scheer. Let's just have one for him. Andrew Scheer. Bring love into the situation. What it means by that is I was just looking at him thinking he's a bit dry. You know, like where's the emotion? Where's the emotion? Bit dry, bit sort of, I don't know. I've never even heard him speak, so I'm just going on what I'm picking up energetically. So bring love into the situation. Let's have some passion. Come on, you know, let's have some passion. Let's see it. It's like, oh, I'm very flatline energy. So he's being asked to sort of bring some love into this situation, but I also feel maybe his policies aren't always centred on the heart and the love for everybody, you know? It might just be for the select few. Remember, he had that card about, where is it? 7 of Tides, all that glitters isn't gold, but equally, what's real, what's, you know, can he deliver? Is it true? He came up with the teacher card as well, didn't he? It was like linked into, can you really deliver what you're what you're promising? And that may very well be a lesson for people, that they realise that sometimes if you're offered jewels and jewels are not available, you know, don't buy into the hype. I'm not saying he's about hype, but, you know, I'm just trying to explain the card. Well, Canada, where does that leave you? Let's just pull a couple of final cards then for next week and the election. I made myself some more tea. This has been a 2-mug reading. A double caffeine hit. That says it all in many ways. What I want to say to you is that your situation in Canada is probably mirrored in most other countries around the world, which is that we're sifting through all these candidates. We're searching, we're scratching our heads, trying to work out what to do, who to vote for. At some point, there's going to be a whole new politics in town that probably isn't even here on the table yet. I have read something linked into Canada, which is like the move away from the 2-party option That's exactly the same as it will happen in the United States at some point. It's exactly the same as what's happening in the UK. I can't talk knowledgeably about other countries because I don't know, but I suspect it's going on in other countries as well. You've only ever had two options. Well, it feels as though there are other options now starting to come in, and that's going to shake everything up. But longer term, there's a whole new breed of politics coming in as well. So it's like literally, my desk is quite an analogy for what's going on. We're sifting around with these names and these parties. But really, if it was a meal, yeah, if it was going to be a meal, it would be a bit unsatisfactory, you know, as though there is something missing. And I think what's missing is maybe just one candidate who has who is the whole package. And the truth is that if we want that one candidate, whether it's in Canada or in any other country around the world, we have to start embodying those qualities that we want. And that's going to take time. So at the moment, we're dealing with what we've got on the table. But there is just this energy of sort of, it is what it is. You know, we're playing with literally, we're playing with the cards we have to play with. Let the best man stroke woman stroke party or combination of thereof win. Okay, let's pull a final card for next week for Canada for election day itself. Okay, so the 21st. Let's just see what we get. Might be an interesting place to end. So the 21st's energy, let's just have a look at what that looks like. Canada, 21st of October. Canada, 21st of October. Look at that. The card of Temperance, which is also linked into patience. And balance. Who's going to hold the balance of power? That's the great unknown. Let's pull one more to go with that. I'm almost feeling that whatever happens, it's like an interim holding pattern. It's an interim holding energy for something that wants to come in at some point in the future, but that isn't quite yet here. Until that time, you need to hold qualities of, in fact, I don't need another card. I just want to talk about this one. You need to embody qualities of moderation, and by that I'm talking about, it implies not a lurch to an extreme. It's holding the middle ground, basically. But that has to start with each of us. To have a balanced world and moderate behaviours which are about harmony, you have to hold that within yourself. So, but I still feel as though, you know, look at this, you see the dawn? It's like there's a dawn rising there, the sun is coming up. It's not quite yet here. It's a bit of a cliffhanger to leave it there, but that's where I am going to leave it. Let's see how it all plays out. And let's see how they all do. I hope you enjoyed that anyway. It's interesting just to have a look at an insight to all of the players. And much love to everybody in Canada. Thank you. Keep it clean in the comments. No fighting amongst people. I don't post the comments if people start to get really antagonistic towards each other. I just think there's no need for it. So let's try and uphold this energy of moderation, patience, balance and harmony in the comments as well. Much love. Bye for now.